For a long time, I watched Hearts of Iron YouTube videos by many creators, and a lot of times I'd see HOI4 on sale on Steam. It looked like one of those games that I thought I'd really like to play. One thing held me back. It really did seem complex. So what did I do? I bought it. And then I realized buying it was the easy part. I can't remember which creator it was when talking about grand strategy games that said, if you've never had a mental breakdown playing a grand strategy game, are you really even trying? And I found that out. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Son of Sun Tzu, 21-year non-combat Air Force veteran and longtime gamer dating back to the rollout of Pong. I've played a lot of strategy-type games, Empire and Napoleon, Total War, probably a couple of my favorites, Civ 5, Panzer Corps 2, bunch others along those lines. More recently, some of you may know me from the 4,500 hours I've accumulated playing Arma 3, mostly Antistasi Ultimate, and have watched some of my videos of Antistasi Ultimate that I've been posting for about a year now. But Hearts of Iron, like I said, always looked, well, a little bit different. So much time in Arma 3, I'm starting to get burned out on that, and I'm looking for a change. So I decided it's finally time to pull the plug and get into HOI4. I've got about 50 hours so far, a lot of it in the tutorial, a lot of it messing with things that I've seen creators do. But I'm the type of person that doesn't like to follow step by step exactly what other players do. I like to experiment with things. I like to discover on my own the consequences of my actions. Yeah, I like to understand the game mechanics a little bit so I can at least stumble through stuff. But I'm not into spreadsheets and metas and following other people's step-by-step guides to play. Not that that's wrong. I mean, other people are very good at that. It's just not me. This initial series isn't about proving the best way to play HOI4, and it sure isn't a tutorial. I think it's more about discovering myself and how I approach this game. And also maybe to encourage some people out there who might be on the fence whether to buy it, or if they've bought it and they're not sure about opening up or got frustrated at the first stages. Maybe this will help you, and the way I look at it is just play it, and that's what I'm going to do. So if you're been looking at HOI4 and thinking maybe someday, well, maybe today's the day. And like I said, you just got to stop watching and play it. I hope you'll come along on this journey, try it for yourself. And for those of you who are more experienced, maybe you can provide some insight for those of us that are less experienced on why things happen the way they do. With that, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be flubs. It's not going to be perfect videos. One thing I noticed in playing the tutorial, that the difference between using mouse and keyboard for tactical shooters differs greatly when you get into something like a grand strategy game. I'm still having problems with mouse controls, keyboard controls, what goes where, how to position, and all that good stuff. So anyway, let's get going. Single player, new game. Going to start 1936 as Italy. And we're going to go with regular difficulty and historical AI focus. And here we go. All right. I know when you first open this up for the first time, it's like, what in the heck am I looking at? So here is the Mediterranean in 1936. We've got Italy in this area, but Italy also has control of Libya, Eritrea, Somaliland, and Jubaland. And we do start off at war with Ethiopia. So my focus for this first series is going to be on control of the Mediterranean, control of Gibraltar, the Suez, all of the countries or coastlines around the Med. That's my goal, as well as to learn mechanics. This could be the shortest series in HOI4 history, or it could turn into something that's really beneficial for everybody. So let's get into it. And I want to start off by talking about how I kind of look at the UI. These are the different functions as I see it. You know, decisions, intelligence agency, research, market, et cetera, et cetera. This area is everything that really needs your attention right now. And across the top part, I think of that in the kind of the aspect of currency. I know it's not currency, but as you build up the numbers on all of these, it gives you the ability to purchase things or do things. And that's why I say it's like currency. The flag deals with all of the political things, your occupied territories, national focus, laws, research, and production with military industrial, your military staff and advisors, and also your national spirit. Now, these areas, and one of the things nice about HOI4 is the pop-ups that give you an idea of, are these things beneficial or are they detrimental? You'll notice the items in green. Those are things that benefit you, whereas numbers in red are those that go against you. So here's some things that we're going to have to deal with. Our industries in shambles. Our army has issues. Our Air Force has issues. And our Navy has issues. And a lot of that deals with things that we'll be able to research, equipment we'll be able to buy to upgrade those. So don't look at those as we're going to have those forever. We're going to work on those and fix them. And now one other thing I want to talk about is the over here up in the upper right corner, your calendar and speed controls for how quickly the game moves or how slowly. Your Army overview, your Navy overview, and your Air Force overview, as well as world tension and its history. So with that, let's get started. And I think the first place to start is let's do national focus. Now, when we go to the focus tree, you're going to notice that there are a lot of things to look at, and it keeps going and going and going. And like some of the other areas, like how I approach the UI, the focus tree, the best way that I've found to look at it is all of this deals with the Ethiopian war and anything going on in Africa. Italian highways branch is kind of your industry. Your Army, Air, and Navy focuses. And then we get over into the political stuff to where you can actually undermine El Duce, turn the country to communist, and a variety of things, or go down pretty much the historical path, treaty with Germany, befriend Japan, Pact of Steel, things of that nature. So that's an easier way to look at it when you break it down. To start off with, there's a couple different ways we can go, but I think just like in the tutorial, Ethiopian war logistics is probably, for me, the best place to start. There's a severe supply deficiency down in Africa for the Italian forces. Ethiopian war logistics on the completion gives you a couple naval bases, which helps with supply. And it gives you some infrastructure as well. Takes 35 days to complete. We're going to go ahead and take that and get started. Now, on the items that require our attention, the alert bar. Research slots available. Even in Napoleon and Empire, you kind of have technology trees that you follow. HOI4 is the same way, except they're a little bit more detailed. Infantry research, support companies, armor, artillery, naval support, air, engineering, and industry. Again, going back to the tutorial, I think I'll start out with support weapons and research that. This gives some variety of things like heavy weapons company and motorized heavy weapons company. Here's all your numbers if you're interested in that. I do look at those a little bit. For example, soft attack, recovery rate, defense, and hard attack. But I don't use spreadsheets, and I don't sit here and do mathematical gymnastics to figure that out. But I do look at those. We're going to go ahead and research that, and we can either research without a military industrial organization or with one. Out of these two, since Beretta is an infantry weapons manufacturer, we're going to select that, and that'll put that into the bin. 171 days to complete. The next item we're going to research is we're going to go down to the engineering section. Electronic mechanical engineering, we're going to select that. And let's go back to this for 1 minute, because at some point in time, as we go through this technology tree, you'll see that it improves the reinforcement rate and coordination, does it again some more. You get an effect of bomb sites, research speed improvements, and so forth. So this first thing we're going to start off with in that area. Oh yeah, we already took that. So let's go back to research. The next item we want to do, our industry is in bad state. Let's take basic machine tools. It gives us a production efficiency and equipment conversion speed buffs. And then for our last one, again, along the lines of the tutorial, construction that helps us build things 10% faster. And also, if we happen to get attacked, it'll help with our repair rate. So you'll notice that disappeared off of our alert list. And now let's go on to civilian factories. For construction, there's a lot of different things: state buildings, shared buildings, province buildings, and experimental facilities. But also, we need to understand that the factories don't just apply to these. Factories also apply to trade. And we're going to use one of those factories right now. As we produce things, ships, planes, tanks, weapons, take resources. Here's all the resources that are available in game. With everything that's currently going on, as far as what's in the production queue and so forth, this is how much we have on hand. You'll notice a couple areas we're deficient, a couple areas we have surpluses, one area where we're even. Now, the only thing that you can keep additional quantities of is oil. All of these other items, you can't bulk up on them and leave them in storage. They're used or they're not used. If you have too many, you can either trade them off, sell them. If you don't have enough, you get penalties for it. Once you get up around 6 or so. Now, the oil, we currently don't have any ships, planes, or troops moving around, and we're even. That means as soon as we start assigning orders and executing movements in Ethiopia, we're going to be out of oil. Now, we do have some surplus. Not very much, and especially not when we start running Navy and Air Force and tanks. So what we want to do, click on oil, look at who has oil to export. Some of them require convoys over the sea. Some of them don't. Since we're only at war with Ethiopia right now, I think I'm going to go to Venezuela, trade them one factory for 8 oil. Gonna send that off and be on the way. Now, if we go back to the construction, you'll notice we now have used 11 out of 21. Let's go down to Eritrea and Ethiopia to figure out probably one of the places I think we should start with construction. There's a lot of people that don't do it this way, but this is something that I think, from watching everybody else play, I think people leave this by the wayside. So I'm going to press F4, go to the supply map, and as you come down here, you'll notice that, we've got some supply problems over in this province. We're not too bad up here, but as we start moving south, we're going to run into real supply issues. So I'm going to click on the supply at the naval base. I'm going to upgrade the bottlenecks. Then I'm going to upgrade the railway running from the supply hub at the port to the supply hub over in this province to give us a little bit more supply and hopefully turn some of this a little bit more blue. Now, if you notice in our construction scheme of things, it's already put in the upgrade at the port, and it's put in the upgrade for the railroad. Another thing I'd like to do, now you notice these are all highlighted because those are part of the supply chain. At some point in time, we're going to need to upgrade the supply chain coming from our capital to go throughout the rest of Italy and to all the other various ports. Going to upgrade that to a level 2 as well. And I'm going to upgrade this rail link to a level 2 as well. Is that going to have a benefit? I don't know. And that's the one cool thing about playing HOI4 is that every action you take has consequences, some immediately known and some known sometime in the future. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, so now we're up to 21 out of 21 used, but I also would like to use and build some factories. Looking at the resource portion of our map, you'll notice that we have areas that have aluminum and steel. You'll notice right now we're 35 out of 35 up here. I want to go through and I want to upgrade the infrastructure in a couple areas. So this area that we have 7 of 8 factories already built, or I'm sorry, is that 7 of 8 construction slots filled? We have 19 aluminum and 35 steel. I'm going to add an infrastructure, and you'll notice that it's going to add some numbers. Once that infrastructure is complete, we'll have 21 aluminum and 38 steel. Now, I'm going to do the same up in this area, add some infrastructure. And I'm also going to add, what did I want to do? I wanted to add, oh yeah, I wanted to add a couple factories in Toscana. Let's add 2 there. And add another factory in Lazio. And we'll leave that for the time being. We'll check on it occasionally, add to it, rearrange it, and so forth. Now, the reason I didn't add infrastructure in any of these, the one focus that is going to be within the first 5 of focus that we do, it's going to add infrastructure to these 4 areas, and that's why I'm not adding infrastructure there. All right, so our civilian construction is done. Now we have free military factories. You'll notice that we've got a bunch of equipment and weapons and ships and planes under construction. We currently have 10 out of 20 factories used, 14 out of 15 dockyards used. Let's go through this. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Logistics. There we go, logistics. This area shows whether we have a surplus or a deficiency for different types of items. We have a surplus of 150 armored cars and a shortage of 109 artillery units. So this will give us a clue on things that we need to focus on maybe, or to continually keep an eye on. Let's go back to the military factories. We are going to need a boatload of infantry equipment. So we're going to bump this up to 10 factories. And for this, we're also going to make sure that we create a variant. we're going to go to our MIOs and we're going to select Beretta to be our weapons manufacturer. And now, hopefully, we'll produce a little bit more upgraded weapons. Support equipment, going to want to bump that up to 4. We're going to do the same with this. We're going to create a variant. And we do have a support equipment manufacturer. We're going to select that. And I'm not sure if we get additional ones as the as time goes on, but we'll figure that out. Now, basic light tanks, I'm not sure I want to keep producing these. I'm going to leave it here for right now and think about that, because Italian basic light tanks really aren't that hot. We'll leave them up there for right now till we get through the war with Ethiopia. Trucks are used in supply distribution, so we need to make sure we keep producing trucks. And you'll notice this is grayed out, meaning we cannot use this. So we'll take Lancia. And we'll leave that as 2. We said that we were short on towed artillery, so let's go to that. Artillery manufacturer Breda. Now, that's going to place those at the bottom, so let's move those up top. I don't want them all the way at the top. And let's do 3 factories of those. Can't do 3 factories. All right. Oh, we're out of factories, that's why. And let's see, is there anything else we needed? Oh, trains. Trains also help in the distribution of supplies. So we're going to take Ansaldo, train manufacturer, save them, put a train up. And we're just going to keep that at 1. And I think I am going to delete the light tanks. We'll build new ones of those in the future. And then aircraft. Between the interwar and the basic, I'm going to delete the interwar close air support and keep the basic close air support. And we'll keep that at production level 1. Now, on to ships. You'll notice that military factories disappeared. We do have free dockyards. We're going to move all of the heavy ships down to the bottom of the pile. And what we currently have in production, for example, this basic cruiser is due for completion in March of 36. I'm going to take and put these in kind of chronological order. I know it's a basic submarine, but we're going to move that up. That's a heavy ship. Okay. So as far as the heavy ships, the ones that are due for completion in 37, they're too far along to kind of waste that production. The 2 at the bottom that are due to be complete in 41 and 44, we're getting rid of those. They're going to be way out of date by the time they're complete. We're going to be getting additional upgrades through research for our ships. The only thing I want to do is I want to add convoys, and there's no variant for convoys currently. But we want to add convoys to the mix. And then for all these other ones, we're going to go 10 dockyards. And then for the heavy ships, we can only go 5 on those. And convoys, we'll leave that at 1. Maybe, nah, let's go up to 5. Whatever. So that completes. You'll notice that has disappeared. Missing equipment production, it's telling us we don't have any fighters or tactical bombers in production. I know that. We're going to wait a while to add those for production. We have air wings that don't have a mission. We know that. We're going to take care of that. No divisions in basic training. And here's where we recruit our ground troops. As far as priorities, we're going to put reinforcements at a high priority, operations at a high priority, and leave everything else as medium priority. And then we're going to add, these are basically infantry units. Here's their breakdown. We can add to those, but we currently don't have any army experience. Requires 25 to add any of these. Remember how I said this top line is like currency? You get to buy stuff. Well, when you gain army experience, you can improve things, add to things that deal with your Army, Navy, or Air Force. We currently can't do any of that, but we are going to need some ground forces. So we're going to select train, and their deployment location is going to be at the capital in Lazio. Then we're going to add 12 divisions. The mountain troops, right now, we can't train any more mountain troops. They have a cap on the number that you're allowed to have. They're considered special forces. So we'll take care of that as the campaign goes on through research and focus tree. Now, one other thing, we took those basically out of the production line. And again, I'm going to leave those as is for right now. But we are going to train some cavalry, again, to Rome. And we're going to do 12 units. So there's that. We know missing equipment. I'm going to right-click on that. Right-click on that. We have unassigned divisions. We're going to take care of that in a minute. Now there's decisions available. This is an area that's kind of got me confused, and I'm still working my way through that. For example, right now we're a participant in the London Naval Treaty. That was done after World War I. That basically put a limit on how big ships could be from any country. We're a participant in a treaty that limits what we can build, and at some point in time, if we want to abandon the treaty, we're going to have to pay 25 political power, which is up here. Again, back to currency. We can buy our way out of the treaty. But that also increases world tension if you do things like that. So we know there's decisions available. We're not ready to make a decision on anything yet. Let's get rid of that. We are at war, and this tells us the progress of the war, who's winning, who's losing. How many? We've got 46 divisions and 56 total factories. Ethiopia has somewhere between 8 and 36 divisions and 4 factories. That gives you an idea of what you're going to be facing now and in the future. And this is the progress. Right now it's status quo. We'll leave that up. Naval headquarters. Navy is something I also have a hard time with. I'm still trying to figure out this part. I'm going to assign our lowest guy to naval headquarters. Maybe he can get some experience. He does have qualifications as fleet protector, bold, and he is old guard. While not brilliant, he's unlikely to cause trouble. The kind of people I like. We know we have insufficient energy. We don't have enough coal. We will be taking care of some of that over here. We do have shortages in resources. 5 steel. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we added factories up in this area, because that was still production territory. And not enough manpower or equipment to fill our garrisons. And we know that. Right now, these are all the nations that we occupy. We're going to change from military governor to local police force as the default law enforcement and management. And we're still going to leave the cavalry. That's why I trained cavalry as the garrison forces. I want to change that sometime down the line, but we'll see. All right. So let's get on to Ethiopia. Get our forces set, and then we'll call it a day. Here's our armed forces in Eritrea. Going to select those, right-click, and assign them to an army, and select the commander for these forces. Here's our commanders, their skill level, and the things that they excel at. For the army up north, I'm looking for a infantry officer that might be, yeah, these guys all have old guard. I want a infantry officer, this guy Rossi. Infantry officer, or do I go with somebody that's got supply? Remember we said we had supply issues? I'm going to go with Cavallero and assign him as our general for this army. I'm going to bump up his supply priority to by vehicles instead of by horse. And I'm also going to put him on aggressive and balanced. We're not done with him yet. There will be more. Let's go down south, take Southern Army, assign those guys to an army. And who we're going to select for this one is actually going to be messy. Because of this, armor officer. We have some armored units that we're going to assign to that southern front. Okay, so we've got 2. Now, let's go to our army. And this works kind of like Excel spreadsheets. You can sort by type, by name of the division, by the theater in, or whether they're assigned to somebody or not. These are all the unassigned units, and you'll notice we have some mountain divisions. I'm going to take these 4 mountain divisions, assign them to that army. Then I'm going to come up here to Libya, select those two and assign them to that army as well. And we're going to take these guys and the general, and when I say these guys and Yin's guys, I'm from Pittsburgh. I got an accent, I know. We want to look for, there is a mountain officer here. Here he is, Mountaineer. We're going to select him. We're also going to do the same, aggressive, balanced. And you're like, well, it's Africa, really? If we look at the terrain, look at all the mountain terrain in Ethiopia. So we've got him set. Now, a couple last things. I want to fill out some of these units. Did we do this with... No, we didn't do this with Messi. All right, so let's go back to our army units. Let's find those armored units. Assign them to... Is that Messi? Yeah, that's Messi. And then we're also going to assign 2 cavalry units to him as well. Now we're going to go back and we're going to take units with experience. You'll notice the experience level, level 3 regular, which means they're, I'd say, fully trained to be effective when they're deployed. So we're going to take 4 of those units, assign those to Cavallero. We're going to take 1 of those units and 1 untrained unit and assign those to Messi. And then I'm going to do something really unconventional. I'm going to take, I'm going to take these last 4 units and I'm going to disband them. Why do I want to disband them? They're going to give me, right off the bat, 26,000 manpower, 37 artillery, 1891 infantry equipment, and 93 support equipment. And if you remember, we set our operations as a priority for equipment and manpower. This will immediately help balance out any shortages they come across. One last thing we're going to do is we're going to assign a field marshal. All 3 of those generals were, or all 3 of these armies we're going to put under the same field marshal, and we're going to go with Rodolfo Graziani. Mostly because he's got good numbers and the other 2 guys that are available aren't that hot. So we're going to assign those to him. And again, we're going to put, oh, he will automatically take on those roles. There we go. Yep, aggressive and balanced. All right, our armies are set. Let's get them set up for battle. Going to take the first army, the Northern Army. We're going to assign them to a front line. You can either click on a front line or right-click and drag. Right now, I'm taking the easy way out. I'm having a hard time getting used to mouse ops, like I said. We're going to assign them to this front line. And then we're going to give them an order for a future offensive line. And nope. All right. So let's try this again. We're going to assign them down in this area. There we go. So when we tell them to activate their orders, they will begin a push to make this their new front line. The Southern Army, going to take them. We're going to do the same thing. Establish a front line. And then give them an order for an offensive line. And we're going to bring them up so that they come on the opposite side of the Capitol. This last group, the Mountaineers, what we're going to do is assign them to a front line that is bordering on this area. And if we have to, we'll bring them in support to make a push down. Or if we go to war with or decide to get permission to pass through Alza, we'll come through that way. And the final area, our air forces. You'll notice we have an air base in Eritrea. It has a capacity of 600 airplanes. It currently has 120. Going to click on this because I want to move some of those down to this southern airfield to give support for the Southern Army. So we're going to take fighter unit, move them down. We're going to take the largest tactical, or that's close air support unit, bring them down. Go up, gather all of the aircraft that are available. We're going to take 2 fighter units. And then any bomber units that are not stationed in Eritrea, we're going to take those and we're going to move them to Eritrea. We are set for battle. See, we've set our national focus. We looked at the decisions. We're not going to make any right now. Intel agency will come about later. We've done research. We're not going to do the international market yet. We'll talk about that later in the campaign. We did do some trade. We did do some construction. We did add items to our production. We recruited. We looked at where our shortages were. And Officer Corps, we're not able to do anything with this, again, until we get experience and political power. So as far as a first day, first series, that's it. That's where we are. We're on our way to try to get control of the entire Mediterranean, including the Suez Canal and the Straits of Gibraltar. And there you go. If you liked what I'm doing, drop a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, suggestions, and again, you folks that have experience with HOI4, please let me know how I'm doing and what we got to look forward to. My episodes, I'm going to try to keep it an hour or less. I don't like to make 8-hour-long episodes, but I won't be doing any editing. So next episode will be up hopefully in a day or two. And with that, I think what I'll say, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.